should be open to a clean page. And the title of today's notes is Commonly Misused Contractions. And then today's date, February 24th, 2021. Yes, Lena.
Misused is together, right?
Yes, misused is one word. Was that your question too, Smith? Yes, misused is one word because MIS is not a word. MISS is a word, but MIS by itself is usually a prefix. That means you're doing the second thing wrong. So like misspelled. That means you are spelling something wrong. Misused means you are using something wrong. So MIS is a prefix added to a verb to change the definition to the opposite. So if it means you're doing it the wrong way. I'm trying to think of something else that could be. Okay, I see what the problem is. This whole thing is like crooked. Okay. Yes. Quickly. Misplaced. Yes, that means you placed it in the wrong spot. If something is misplaced, it's lost because you placed it or put it in the wrong spot. That's a good one. Okay, when you see these, you're probably going to be like, oh. So the first one we're going to talk about, so your dot goes on the pink line, is your, Y-O-U-R, and your, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. So these are the first ones. What happens is we confuse them. So we shouldn't. Because your, Y-O-U-R, means that you own something. Y-O-U-R means you own something. So if you are trying to say that someone owns something, you would use this form of your, not Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. For example, unpack your backpack. Your means that you have a backpack. So the first one's your, Y-O-U-R, means that you own something. For example, unpack your backpack. You have a backpack, so it's your backpack. Carla, just catch up with where we are. I don't have time to stop. Now the next one, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, sounds exactly the same. They both sound like your. But Y-O-U apostrophe R-E is a contraction. Remember what contractions are. They're where you combine two words, take out some of the letters, and replace them with an apostrophe. So Y-O-U apostrophe R-E is a contraction for you are. Y-O-U-R means that you own something. It's a possessive word. For example, unpack your backpack. You have a backpack, so it's your backpack. However, Y-O-U''RE is a contraction for you are. Yes?
We also learned it last week.
That's why we do this lesson now. Because a lot of people, then once they learn the contraction, your for you are, they want to put you are here. But would it make sense to say unpack you are backpack? So can we put Y-O-U''RE when we're trying to show that you own something? No, we can't. We can use it when we say you're late. We can say Y-O-U''RE, you're late. Do you own late in this sentence? No, so you can't say Y-O-U-R late. That doesn't make sense. Can we say you are late? Does it make sense to say you are late? Yes. So whenever you're trying to figure out if you need Y-O-U-R, your, or Y-O-U''RE, replace whatever you're doing with you are. If it makes sense, it's Y-O-U''RE. If it doesn't make sense, like unpack you are backpack, you need Y-O-U-R. Does everybody understand? When you're trying to pick the correct form of your, think, okay, can I replace it with you are? If you can replace it with you are, use Y-O-U''RE. Like you are late can be you're late. But if it doesn't make sense, unpack you are backpack, don't use Y-O-U''RE, use Y-O-U-R. So does anybody have any questions about your and your? Zari.
So you can also use it for like, say, well.
There's really only two ways you can use it. You either use it for you are, or you use it to show that you own something. There's really no other way to use it.
Okay, I understand it now.
Yeah, there's no other way you can use your. You either use it to mean you own something, or to mean you are. There's no other way to use it. Okay, I'm going to erase because the next one we're talking about is there, and there.
Huh? Oh, no, I know.
You need to go back and watch this video later because you came late or you're not moving quickly. Then you need to do that. Next one we're going to talk about, so skip like 2 lines and then go back to the pink dot. I'm sorry, go back to the pink line and put a dot because now we're going to talk about there, and there. T-H-E-R-E, there. T-H-E-I-R, there. And T-H-E-Y''RE, there. T-H-E-R-E, there, means a place. So when you use T-H-E-R-E, sounds like there, but it means a place. Please focus. Eyes up here or on your notebook because you're copying. Even if you're finished copying, you're waiting for other people, that doesn't mean start to zone out. That's the problem. Because then if you're zoning out, do you know when to zone back in? Nope. So even if you do have the time to zone out, Remember, whenever you zone out, you don't know when to zone back in. And that's a problem. For example, my shoes are over there. I mean a place, right? My shoes are in a place, not here, but over there. So that is how you would use T-H-E-R-E there. It means a place, a location. We're going to do an example next. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to do T-H-E-I-R next. Sorry, we already did the example. The next there is T-H-E-I-R, not I-E-R. This is one of those weird ones. You know the saying is I before E except after C. Well, also in there. There's no C, but it's just a word that you have to memorize. Okay? T-H-E-I-R, not I-E-R. That would be theer. That's not a word. So there means they own something. There, T-H-E-I-R, means that they own something. It's like your, Y-O-U-R. You own something is Y-O-U-R, your. They own something is T-H-E-I-R, there. Not this one. T-H-E-R-E is a location, a place. T-H-E-I-R there means that they own something. For example, the kids ate their lunches. The kids ate their lunches. The kids, they have lunches. Okay? It wouldn't make sense if we meant a place. We can replace T-H-E-R-E with an actual place. Let's say on the steps. My shoes are over on the steps. Does that make sense? So if you can replace the word with a place, an actual name of a place, then you use T-H-E-R-E. But would it make sense if we did that here? The kids ate on the steps lunches. Does that make sense? No. So we know we have to say that they own the lunches. So we have to say T-H-E-I-R. Last one. T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E is a contraction of they are. Remember, a contraction is when we take two words, put them together, take out some of the letters, and replace them with an apostrophe. So we have T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E because we're putting they and are together, taking out the A, and putting in an apostrophe. For example, they're, oops, you don't have to put such a large space. I don't know why I do that. They're going to the park. They're, T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E, going to the park. If we replace there with they are, let's see if it makes sense. They are going to the park. Does that make sense? Show me. They are going to the park. Think about it, please, before you nod your head or shake it. They are going to the park. Does that make sense? Yes, it's saying they are going to the park. So we can replace it with T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E. Let's replace the others with they are. Everybody listen. My shoes are over they are. Does that make sense? What about here? The kids ate they are lunches. Does that make sense? No. They are going to the park. Does that make sense? Yes. So in this third example, we can say T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E because we can replace it with they are. Well, remember when we did this one, we replaced it with on the steps. My shoes are over on the steps, and it still made sense. So let's try to replace this with a place like on the steps. On the steps going to the park. Does that make sense? A lot of you are zoned out. I see 1 and 2 that are definitely zoned out. No. On the steps going to the park doesn't make sense. So that means we can't replace this with T-H-E-R-E. There just means they own something. In this sentence, do the shoes own something? The shoes are the only other noun. So do they own something here in this sentence? No, they're just in a place. Here, the kids are the subject. Do they own something? What do they own? Mason. They own lunches, so they're lunches. Here, does the park own something? The park's the only other noun. Does the park own something? No. So you have to think of it. If you can replace it with an actual location, say on the steps, then you want to use T-H-E-R-E. If you're trying to say a group of people own something, then you're going to use T-H-E-I-R. If you want to replace they are with a shorter word, then you're going to use T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E. Okay, those are the only notes. Now you have 30 minutes to do independent practice. I'll pass it out in just a second. Girls at home, if you have it, it's the your and yours on one side, there, and there's on the other. I sent it. Okay, so you have a box at the top that gives you clues. You also have your notes. So make sure you use both of those to make sure that you're writing the correct answers. The directions say, complete each sentence below with the correct homophone. Remember, words that sound the same but are spelled differently are homophones. So you have to figure out which version of your fits on the line. Y-O-U-R, meaning that you own something, or Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, meaning you are. Remember, if you can say you are in the sentence and it makes sense, which version do you use? Which spelling do you use? Lena?
U-O.
Wait, try again. You said
Y-O-U or apostrophe R-E.
good. If you can replace the blank, if you can say you are in the blank and it makes sense, you use Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. If you're trying to say that you own something, what goes in the blank? Smith?
Your. Y-O-U-R.
Good. If you're trying to say that you own something, not you particularly, but if the sentence says you, whoever you is, use Y-O-U-R. Look at the back. You're doing the exact same thing, but with there, and there. So you have a little box that gives you some information. You also have your notes. As you read, you're going to fill in the blank with the correct version of there. Remember, if you mean a place, what do you use? If you're trying to say a place, like if you can replace it with a place, like Florida or on the steps. Zadie, which one do you use?
T-H-E-R.
T-H-E-R-E. If you can replace it with they are and it makes sense, which spelling of there do you use? Aaron.
T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E.
T-H-E-Y''re. If you're trying to say that they own something, which spelling do you use? Cullen.
T-H-E-I-R.
T-H-E-I-R. Please make sure that you're spelling it T-H-E-I-R instead of T-H-I-E-R. If you are using it in the correct place, but you spell it T-H-I-E-R, I'm going to take off half a point. Okay, read closely, read carefully. Some of you are just like rushing through and just filling in words. Once you have filled in a word, always go back and read the sentence to make sure it makes sense. Does everybody understand? Okay, go ahead. You have until 1:30. Yes, Smith.
How do you want